susceptibilities to be considered. Are we agreed?
Yes. Agreed.
Good. Give my regards to your charming mother. I hope to have the pleasure of seeing you at the Devonshires next weekend.
Oh, I'm afraid you won't see me. I'll be writing my report.
Excellent. To work, then.
Sweet room, ready, waiting for you. Please, if there's anything that you need, anything at all.
They want a report from me, do they? Then they shall have it. This room shall be my war office. My family always stay here when we come to London. The fine old Burlington Hotel. This room is ample, and compared with my lodgings in the Crimea, utter luxury. But how could I sleep in comfort when so many of my children lie in unmarked graves? I call them my children. Those ordinary soldiers who died in pain and silence, uncomplaining, though the officers called them brutes, the scum of the earth. My children. What a tale I have to tell. How eager and proud they all were when they first set out. The very names of those regiments made our hearts beat faster. The Royal Dragoons, the Grenadier Guards, the 93rds, the Inniskillings, the Coldstream Guards, the Royal Fusiliers. Off they went, with their brand new rifles and pretty sparkling uniforms. Off to teach the Russian bear a lesson. The finest army in the world, we thought. Invincible, we thought. Back home in a month, we thought.
Well, everybody, let's hear it for our brave British boys in British uniforms. I can't believe it. Is it? Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, yes, you're right. It's a lightning, frightening, fighting Light Brigade! The Ruskies of Light Brigade. For glory, queen, and country too, we draw our steel and shout hooray. The lightning, frightening, fighting Light Brigade. Who never been afraid. We're the glorious Light Brigade. The Ruskies of Light Brigade. You've never seen soldiers like us before, who've only charged the cannons roar. The lightning, frightening, fighting Light Brigade, who never will ever
army that had spent more time on the parade ground than on the battlefield, commanded by a dear old gentleman whose last taste of action was Waterloo 40 years before. This force, incredibly, due to the heroism of the common soldier, won 3 battles against huge odds. But the cost. And those blundering generals. I know this much. If any woman had managed her kitchen the way our generals managed that campaign, she and her entire family would have been reduced to the poorhouse in weeks. As it was, the British Army was reduced to a regiment of living skeletons, dressed in rags, crawling with vermin, and if they were wounded or got sick, worse was waiting. A death house in the shape of the military hospital at Scutari. The casualties mounted and the death rate soared. Thousands died of disease and neglect. But the soldiers were writing home. and the London Times sent out its best reporter. Before long, the appalling truth was known in every English parlour. Only then did we begin to understand the full horror of what our men were going through.
Listen to this. It is with feelings of anger and surprise that the public will learn that no preparations have been made to care for our wounded in the Crimea. Not only are there not sufficient surgeons, there's not even linen to make bandages. Arriving at the hospital, they lie in their own waste, covered by a single blanket, eating meat, raw, stiff with salt, or rotten with maggots.
Not over breakfast, dear, please.
Let me see. Excuse me, Mother. At last, I knew what I must do. All my training could now be put to use. But I needed an ally. So I wrote to my dear old friend, Sidney Herbert, now a powerful member of the War Cabinet. As it happened, a letter from him crossed with mine in the post.
Dear Miss Nightingale, I have recently been receiving letters from ladies offering to go out to the Crimea and give medical care to our injured troops. I know of only one person in England capable of organizing and directing such a scheme. Yourself. I suggest that you start interviewing likely candidates as soon as possible.
Well, I wrote back immediately. Dear Mr. Herbert, I've already begun. Which was only partly untrue. I started the next day, only to discover that while many called themselves nurses, few were fit to be chosen. And why do you feel yourself qualified?
Well, when I read about it in the newspapers, I cried buckets. And buckets. And buckets.
Well, I just thought of those poor, poor boys. How they must miss a woman's touch.
Pardon?
Well, I never did mind hard work, and I'm not easily shocked. I just do my best and carry on.
Well, I won't deny that the money will come in useful. I take it we do get paid. Good. How much?
How old? Just turned 17, I think.
It's me back. And me knees. They're not what they used to be, you know.
At our convent in Bermondsey, we see every kind of disease and deformity.
You're a Catholic order, I believe.
We make it our business to save the body first. Then, and only then, do we attend to the soul. If that's what concerns you.
We leave in a week. How many can you bring?
War ain't no place for a woman, it's only a place for a man. This foe we fight from morn till night and beat him when we can. So don't come here to interfere with the British battle plan. War ain't no place for a woman, it's only a place for a man. Right here, it's only a place for a man.
If war's no place for a woman, it's hardly a place for a man. We'll ride the wave and try to save as many as we can. We're Nightingale and nurses, you'll thank us and not curse us. We'll rescue you from pain and fear, we'll bring you comfort and good cheer. We've come to hold your hand.
War ain't no place for a woman, it's really a masculine game. So when some females move in, it's simply not the same. Just when the fun is starting, you come with your ribbons and curls. Our only needs to do great deeds and not be hobbled but utterly free from a gaggle of twittering, tittering, simpering, whimpering.
We landed in Turkey just as autumn gave way to winter. My final choice of nurses were a mixed brigade requiring much drilling. Some experienced, some less so. Some happy just to be paid. Some there out of pure charity and love of God.
Follow me. Step lively. Mind where you put your feet.
We had expected chaos. But nothing had prepared us for those barracks at Scutari. Here, just across a narrow strip of water from Constantinople, the British High Command had established the nearest thing I'd ever seen to hell on earth. It was, in fact, the main hospital for receiving the casualties from the Crimea. It was there I met Sir John Hall, Chief Medical Officer for the British Army in the East.
No chloroform for the lower ranks, Mr. Davis. Let us hear the man bawl lustily. At least then we'll know he's still alive. Fine, carry on.
Sir?
Ah, Miss Nightingale. I'd heard you were coming.
And from what I've seen so far, not a moment too soon.
Maybe so, and maybe not. As I read the instructions from your friend, the Right Honourable Sidney Herbert, you are under the clear direction of the medical staff here. That means that neither you nor any of your ladies will do anything without the express written permission of a military doctor. In other words, Miss Nightingale, here in my hospital, you are in charge of nothing with the exception of your personal laundry. Am I clear?
But do let us know when you need help.
See to them.
Do we have to give them rations, sir?
Certainly not.
This way!
The quarters we were herded into were squalid and cramped, alive with vermin, the air heavy with the stench of fever and death.
Oh, so that's where he went. Been missing for a day or two. Sorry about that, ladies. We'll have it removed forthwith.
First, the strongest of you to the washtubs. Everyone else, let us have these floors swept, the windows cleaned, that stove working. Where are the brooms?
Brooms? That's a joke.
Find brooms. If you can't find them, make them. That night, we went to bed in the dark. The next day, we cleaned out our new home, and then nothing. It was as if we had been sealed up in our dingy little corner, frozen out by Sir John Hall and his doctors, deliberately forgotten. Was this why we had traveled all across Europe? We knew how much we were needed, and we knew the difference we could make. This was the cruelest trial of all.